I think we're live. I'll find out in a second. And we'll see if this auto plays. I think this is it. Windows on Windows. All right. I think we're live. I think we are live. Hold on one second here. There we go. Yeah, people are saying I'm live. All right. I just don't want this to kick in right here. Sometimes it's not gonna autoplay. Okay, good. What's up, dudes? I think I saw Italy, Rhode Island, and Austria, and a whole bunch of people. Tone King! Look at that. Montreal. Indiana, Ukraine, Oregon. Check it out, boys. There, Larshi blows. I'm running into extra sets of headphones down here. All right. Ow. That hurts. All right, hold on a second. I gotta move my... There we go. There we go. That is better. See, I'm stepping on cables here. Here we go. All right. Australia. Canada. Norway. California. Tennessee. East Dedham. Who's from East Dedham? It's my old stomping grounds. Oh, Chicago. England. God, Utah, New Zealand, New York. Go Cubs, go. I know. Is that awesome or what? Sorry, Indians. Next year I'm rooting for the Indians. Or after the Red Sox get out. Virginia, Australia, Denmark, Texas. Hola, Argentina. Hola. Little Oregon, Nebraska, Florida, Canada, North Carolina, Mexico City, the Ville. I'm not going to spill coffee on it. UK, New Jersey, Portugal, Denmark, Colorado, Canada, Italy, Burville, Rhode Island. Hey, Krellbar. Hey, Krellbar, you going to go to tomorrow's? They're doing that same thing we went to like a year ago. In the spring. They're doing that again. I'm going to go to it down in Dedham. England, Texas, Greece. Washington, Brazil, Wisconsin, Italia. Nice. Little England. Oh, thanks, Mark. It's cooking by a little fast here. Netherlands, Pluto, of course. I always get that one guy from Pluto. New Jersey, UK, Baltimore, Delaware. Woo! England, woo! Baba Booey, Fafa Fooey. I think hitting with the hind might be taking over. Baba Booey is so... Yeah, that's tomorrow, Krell Bar. Tomorrow is that, that same place, Mother Brook. So I'm running into the Fuego X. I actually had the Loco here earlier, but the Loco only has one channel, where this one has, I can hit it and clean it up a little bit. I just wanted more sound, so I went plugged the Loco back in. But the Fuego X back in. But I had the Loco going. Forgot how killer that Loco amp is. Really good. See, Germany, Newfoundland. Good video on the Ibanez Les Paul. Thanks. I was just playing that. Scotland, Virginia, Iowa, Ontario, Brazil. Talus rules, they do. Connecticut, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Sounds amazing. Oh, good. Shit, I probably should have practiced before I came on here. Hey, Cameron. Oh, yeah, you got the select going? Nice. Nice. The guy who I traded the select with is in the chat room. And he just said, I'm wearing the select. How's the Les Paul treating you? Pretty good. Pretty good. Although I was just talking with Baker and I said, the Les Paul is nice. It's just so different from the Fender neck and the Fender style. I think in my heart I am a Fender guy, which is why I own so many Fenders. But you know what? I don't regret trading it at all. I love the guitar. So I've been playing it a lot. But, last night I was playing the Rosewood neck Strat and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's pretty nice. Hope to see you at NAMM. Oh, that may not, we'll see what's up. If you've ever thought about donating to me, no, trust me, no. But it's going to be tricky this year. I was just talking to Baker. I'm going to have to go on like a blitz between now and the end of January if I'm going to make it. It's about $1,500, which doesn't sound like a ton of money, but, this time of year, it could not be any worse. And normally I would have it like tucked away for it. And I didn't do it this year because of a whole bunch of reasons. We've actually had some good financial news recently, but it's not, it doesn't include going to NAMM. So we'll see. We will see. What size string are you using? These are 10s. These are the, where are they, right? There, Cleartone 10. That's what I got on these. What's our next trade? I don't know, man. I'm still... Though that carving you had looked amazing. Hey, I saw the Digitech vocalist video. It was awesome. Where did you learn to sing? I'm not really much of a singer. I had actually been trying that particular run for quite a while, for like an hour or so. And when I played the video back, I clearly nailed it on that one. But there were some cringy ones. Trust me, my voice isn't that great. But I think with enough practice and eventually I could probably splice it up into something. What's the amp model? I'm using a Fuego X, which is a real amp. I'm using a tube amp, a Fuego X by Panama. So, someone remind me, it's 12 AX7s, and is it EL84s? I forget now. It's a 15-watt head. That's going out to the reload box, and the reload box is just... That's the most awesome thing ever, because it's not digital at all. It's all analog, and it just converts the power of the signal down to a line signal. That's all it does, but it does it so well, and it does it in a reactive way. So when you play through an attenuator, it's like a dam, right? It holds a whole bunch of stuff back, and it's not correct. When you use a reload box like this, It's a reactive load box, which is what amp companies use to test their amps before they send them out. That's the burn-in, right? They put them on a reactive load box. And this guy just took it and put an output and sent it, and it can go to your input on your... they're not cheap. They're like between, I don't know, $900 and $1,000, 800 and $1,000. But boy, they're worth it, because you get your tube amp, and then you get that right in here. So you don't have a cab, right? If I turn the cab off, let me turn the cab off. We'll learn why a cab is necessary. I think. There it is, off. It's like, ugh. Let me turn it back on. Hey, Robert. Looks like Robert Baker's here. Everyone's showing up tonight. It's a party. It's a freaking party. I know, right? See, now the comments are rolling in about the... Exactly, nails on a chalkboard. So you got to put a cab on it. So but the great thing is that we don't really have to emulate cabs anymore. We got that convolution technology, which is pretty damn good. And you set up a wave file, and it just interprets that impulse response, and it's pretty good. You know, and then I got a little bit of reverb and delay, so I can turn the... There's the delay off. What's up, Ken? Like that. And then there's the reverb off. Oswald says, I think the sound without the cab could be useful in situations. Yeah, when you're going out to an amp, right? Sometimes you're going out to the power amp in on an amp through this rig. I know it sounds weird, but sometimes it happens in a studio situation when you're trying to amplify the sound. And then if it's not a full feature, if it's a real guitar cab, then yeah, you wouldn't, because you have a cab in the chain now. But otherwise, if you're going through studio monitors, then definitely, because those tweeters, it is not voiced for those speakers, and it's going to sound pretty bad. I know, no Patriots tomorrow. No Patriots this weekend, they're on a bye week. That's why I'm going to the Mother Brook thing tomorrow down in Dedham, because why not? For the cab software, someone said, what cab software? I'm using TH2 just because I know the software and I can load the cabs in, and it has a really good cab loader. So, you know, why mess around? You know who's coming out with a cab loader, though? I think I could talk about it now, is Rosen Digital. I did see someone post about that the other day. So I think Rosen Digital is going to come out with their own cab loader. They are an impulse response company. So, makes sense, right? What's the snow shovel on the front porch for? We did have a little snow this morning out in Western Mass, but nothing here. It was cold this morning, though. It was about 36 degrees out. Down at the airport, though, we're up on the hill. Way down in the airport, it was like 28, though. What a difference. Just, they're sitting down in a bowl of cold air. You know? All right, I better pay attention to these. Hey, Steve, did you sell the Viper Pro 100? No, I used it in a video the other day. You didn't hear it? Oh, because I had it up there. No, I sold the guitar. And I mean, what better amp to try out the guitar with? I mean, if I want the guitar to sound good, bring up the Viper Pro 100, and hopefully a good sounding amp can sell the guitar. Believe it or not, that was really my thought on it. Like, get up there, dial in a really good sound with the guitar, and then dump the guitar, hopefully. And he took it. The guy was falling over himself to buy it. So, that works. Do you like the new South Park season? Remember? Ooh, I remember. Yeah, I love the new season-long story arcs. I think it's really brilliant. And it works. It really works, Oh, Robert Baker stirring up trouble. So when is that Viper video? Oops. Yeah, why? Don't make me come over there. It's in the works. As you can see from that video, it's so deep. What do you do with an amp that has like 54 amp models and 24 stomp boxes and 12 rack mount? I mean, it's like where do you start? No, I usually don't do the beers until about 8 o'clock. And I don't know, I'm drinking a coffee. It's hard to go from coffee to beer that fast. Sorry. And I got to see what I even have for beer in there, because I had a buddy over here the other day, and every time I turned around, he had another. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, what? He's like, you don't like this one. This is the one you hate. Like, get out of there, you. What's up, France? What's up, Daniel? Do you use Reaper? I do. I like Reaper. Reaper is the only software, and I can't believe I have an older version of Sonar, because Sonar got bought by Gibson, and then they went to a subscription model, and I was out. Because you have to load this big, software that phones home and constantly, checks your, subscription status, and I was like, I'm out. I'll stick with the last one I have, which is plenty feature-rich, but I can't get it to make a stereo signal from a mono source. It just brain farts all the time. Reaper, it's instant, and it works. I do think the audio engine in Sonar is a better audio engine. I think you can load more crap and run it simultaneously. It's a very powerful engine, very streamlined. It's been in production for a very long time. But geez, it's pretty simple to get a mono input and a stereo output. I don't think that's a lot to ask, but apparently it is. I've done countless research on forums to say, how do I do it? And they're like, well, what you do is you start it out with a mono recording, and then copy it to 2 mono tracks, and then, convert that to a stereo track. I'm like, are you insane? I'm not doing that. It's like, I can just go to Reaper. Which Windows do you use? I use Windows 10 pretty much across the board. What do you think of active pickups? I like them. It depends. Active pickups are a little compressed, but I tell you, I got some EMGs in that Ibanez. I think they pair really well with it. I kind of like it. So... and we put a set of EMGs in one of Bobby's Squire Strats, and he was doing backflips at not only just how it sounded, but also how it looked. It had a great look to it once we threw those EMGs in. It was white EMGs with a black pickguard and over a candy apple red body. Looked really good. Going a little fast here. Hold on. Opinions on 70s Les Pauls by Gibson or by the Japanese import ones. If you mean Gibson, I don't really have a ton of experience. They're considered to be, I think, okay years. Those are Norlin years, right? The 70s. They know they were doing the volute in the back of the neck then, which they eventually got rid of. Probably saved a few headstock breaks, but They seem to be good those years. I don't know anything bad about them. If you're talking about the Japanese import stuff, then those are some really good stuff. The Ibanez and the Greco and the Bernie and all that good stuff. Another vote for Zepp. Thoughts on Satchel playing a Charvel? Is he playing a Charvel? Because I subscribe or I follow them on Facebook, and I look to see. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of current photos of him, and he's always playing the Kramer. I've seen like one photo of him playing a Charvel. I mean, were they just in a place and he was borrowing someone else's guitar? I don't know. Has he made the move, Cameron? Has the move been made? Because, like I said, I do follow them. And I see Kramer. I'm always seeing Kramer. Nice, Phil. Happy birthday, John. Oh, yeah? How was Bobby's Burgers, Tone King? Sounds good. What's tonight? Saturday night? I don't know. Chinese? Pixie, the Jack Butler Jackson. Didn't Butler use a Charvel? Yeah, I think so. But it's Jackson Custom Shop. You know, it's a big money guitar. Bobby has two of them. Two. It's crazy. Okay, so Cameron's saying he did a video on it, Cameron Cooper, and he's saying he's using a Charvel for pretty much the entire set. And you saw them 3 weeks ago, and he was playing the Charvel 3 weeks ago. So that, yeah, they must be using older. Was he playing the Charvel the whole night? Maybe they're just putting out Kramer pictures until it's official. You know? Five Guys Burgers, the best. They're pretty good. You know? Nice. Had much experience with Fender Mexican standard Telecasters. I have not. I've played a few in the stores. I almost bought one recently, and I regret not doing it. It was really cheap because it had a big chip in the body. But other than that, and the chip was on the back, it was it was beautiful. And they wanted $249. And I thought about it. I said, oh, I don't know. I don't need another guitar right now. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, you should have bought that. I actually played it for a little bit and liked it. I don't know what I was thinking. guy says any info on Ibanez Roadstar 2. Ibanez Roadstar 2, interesting instrument. Sort of a Strat-like body with a flat table top on some of them. It depends on the model. Some are rounded. Some of them are very flat table, though. It used the older Ibanez bridges. Sometimes it was a stop tailpiece, but they usually had that old Ibanez bridge before they licensed the Floyd Rose. It was behind the nut lock. And sort of that wave headstock, right? For that model. They were well-built instruments. I believe I owned one at one point. But I had trouble keeping it in tune because of that older tremolo design. That was the one big flaw. So I guess if it's hardtail or if you're going to somehow block the tailpiece, you should have no problem with it. They're actually well-made instruments, but, TK taking off. Or at least temporarily. All right, guys. Akron, Ohio. Hey, Quentin. What's up, buddy? Now, Phony Iomi, you were the one from Burlington, right? My wife's from Burlington. She grew up in Burlington. Mass, not Vermont. Death to all the Yeah. See? I remember some things. Not a lot. But some things. Oh, man. That is good coffee. South Carolina. Hello. Dr. Z, one of the greatest amps ever made. I'm sure. Dr. Z, man. Got a good rep. Good stuff. Argentina. Ever been to Plattsburgh, New York? Can't say that I have. Nope, sorry. I've only been to New York City a couple of times. What do you think of the Sam? I'm thinking he's saying, what do you think of the San Dimas? I own one. I like them. You got to really keep an eye on Guitar Center, because, man, they get those in sometimes. They don't last long, and, man, they blow them out. They had it listed as a San Dimas. I checked the stock there. Frighteningly frequent. And they had a beautiful, maple neck, the New Mexico made SoCals in the candy apple blue, $3.99. $3.99. And I said, well, that's going to sell fast. And sure enough, by the next afternoon, I checked the next morning, it was still there. By the next afternoon, it was gone. Going by a little fast here. Most used pedal? That's a good question. Probably my wah-wah, because I use it with so many other things. Probably the Crybaby wah. is my most used pedal because it pairs up with every amp. Right? Not every pedal I have will pair up with it. What's up, Tampa? I'm just backtracking here. What's up, Canada? Bed bugs, yes or no? I'm gonna go a no on that. Going out in a riv. On a limb. Where'd that LP come from? New Jersey. If you could pick a Charvel from the new 2016 range, which one and what color? That's a good question. You know, I don't know. I don't know that I've seen. I think I like the green one. Is that new for 2016? I have a feeling that was around a year ago. I'm trying to think of the new. Maybe the yellow one. Is that a new for 2016 color? I'm not so into the red. Barefoot Effects. Is that a? I don't know what that is. Too bad crybabies always break after a few months. Really? I've had mine since 1988. That's a lot of months. I mean, we're literally coming up on 30 years. So, maybe they were built better back then. Italy raining heavy, huh? We had a little rain blow through, but it got cold here this morning. Getting a little chilly. Best solid state amp you've ever played? It's probably this Viper Pro 100. I think I can easily say that. That thing sounds killer. You know, I can't think of like an old solid state amp that could even come close to that in terms of tone. Not off the top of my head. You know, I mean, there were some old, solid state Marshalls back in the day that were actually okay. You know, like the, what was that? The 100 there, the MOSFET 100. I mean, it wasn't bad, especially if you put a little boost pedal in front of it. It was okay. So this Les Paul has a asymmetrical neck profile. Is it nice to play? Greetings from Poland. Yeah, it is. It's actually, it's a little weird because you can, it feels a tiny bit thinner on this side than on this side. It's weird. And and when I get up here, I'm expecting the neck to feel thicker. Like normally when the neck goes up, it just thickens up a little bit. This is pretty consistent. I mean, and maybe it is a little thinner down here and a little wider up here, but the thickness feels pretty consistent along the whole thing. It's certainly easy to get up into the, into the upper registers and, get into the higher frets, no problem. So, no, it's been good. I had to set the action to my height. That's all. Which is just a lot of fiddling. No, too high. No, too low. Oh, there it is. And there you go. And you're done. Hey, dude, love your videos. Is your basement soundproofed at all? Or does it not need to? Greetings from UK. Greetings, UK. It's not soundproof. In fact, it needs more soundproofing. The ceiling is completely... I am looking at the subfloor to the upstairs, which is just wood on wood, and it is loud. So I rarely play, live amps here. We just had a floor put in the garage, though, and now I'm thinking about, maybe I should take this... That's actually a room, back there, that white wall. On the other side of that is a room about 20 feet long and 10 feet, across, like 10 feet this way looking at myself in the camera, and like 20 feet this way or that way, like that. Anyway, so I could do something in there maybe and get some soundproofing and do that. But then I feel like the space is too small. The thing about down here is it's wide open. You know, it's nice and big. Can you record with open back headphones? Any bleed? Yeah, because I'm almost always recording either so loud that they would never hear these, right? I'm playing through an amp, and the microphone is set to pick up an amp that's at about 100 dB, 3 or 4 inches off its face. That is not a very sensitive mic. So that really hasn't been an issue. It's probably more of an issue with a condenser mic and vocalists, but I rarely do that. And when I do use close back for that very reason, just so it doesn't pick that up. Someone said, what's in the case with the Star? You got the rosewood neck Strat, the rosewood neck Telly, and then that's the deluxe Strat. Remember that one with the humbucker single? Remember it had the big ding in the back of the neck that I filled in with using acrylic. CA using sand acrylic, filler, like a little drop fill. Killer cleans, thanks. Yeah, I'm running through the clean section now. Need to do a rig rundown. Yeah, I mean, it's Fuego X. It's pretty simple, actually. It's only really 2 external components, the Fuego X and then the reload. All the reload is doing is just converting the signal. And then everything else is in the software, the cab and the reverb and the delay. That's in out of phase mode. There it is, dual single coil. And there it is, dual humbucker. Do you play out live? Very rarely, but I'm actually going to tomorrow. I'll be down in Dedham at the Mother Brook. So if you live in Boston area and you want to hang out tomorrow for a couple hours, I'll be down at the Mother Brook on High Street in Dedham. Probably with the Strat, with that Strat right there, the blue one. Using a Dawman pick, damn straight. Right there, I'm using my UFOs. Yep, the alien pick. Ooh. Let's try that clean. Like that. I guess it is. What a difference. What's your set list going to be? I think it's just going to be like an open jam. I might do like a Stevie Ray Vaughan tune. And that's about it. You know, you only get about 10 minutes. There's going to be like 40 guitar players there. So. Do you like the Epiphone Masterbuilt? I can't say I've played one. I'm sure it's well made. The only thing, again, I would buy an Epiphone if the headstock was this shape. If the only difference between the Gibson and the Epiphone was the name and where it was made and the price, I'd buy the Epiphone all day long. I just don't like the Epiphone headstock shape. And I'm not alone. You know, I've heard that from a few people out there. So, just a matter of taste. I don't care for it. I know a lot of people. I like the large Fender headstock shape. I know tons of people that hate it. Because every time I post a video, they remind me how much they hate it. Like, I love that guitar, except that headstock. It's like, great. Let's see here. What amp are you going to play at the rig tomorrow? I'm probably going to play John Finn's XFX because, don't worry, I got him, Phil. He's gone. Though he had a point. Thanks, bro. It's all right. It's going by a little fast. Thanks, Zach. Someone's asking me about Schecter. I like Schecter. I don't think I've ever owned one, but I gotta say that Nick Johnson model looks pretty good. I mean, I know it's just sort of a Strat, but it's kind of nice. And I like the one, is it a rosewood neck? Or is it a mahogany neck? I'm not really sure, but he's got one with a very dark neck. It looks like rosewood, but I'm not sure if it is rosewood. Someone said, do you ever take lessons anymore? I tried to. I actually reached out to my old guitar instructor, who's still teaching, a guy I've literally been taking lessons from since the 80s. And, but he moved far away, and I said, well, we can't meet each other, and I just can't get him going on Skype. It's like trying to get my mother on Skype. He's better than she is, like, for technology, but it's still been hard. There's some growing pains getting that going. I have a feeling he will, because I think his partner's son, right? He lives with this woman. They're not married, but they've been together like 30 years, whatever. So, but they're not married. But she has a son, and he's very tech savvy. And so I think he's trying to get him to get it going. But it's been like a year, and still nothing. What do you think about bare knuckle pickups? Excellent pickups. They are pricey. They literally are twice the price of a lot of other pickups out there. But they are a nice pickup. There is no doubt about it. They're a hell of a pickup. Oh, yeah, the stutter effect, right? Yeah, yeah. We gotta do that. Toronto, what's up? I want a guitar P90s very much. Me too, Jeff. Yeah, I'm with you. I want one with P90s too. Probably a Les Paul, you know. I mean, I guess I could get an SG. You know, that's also available with a P90 set, but I'm thinking gold top Les Paul, right? I mean, isn't that the set? Gold top with a nice set of white P90s. Gotta get that open string. People always forget he does this at the end. And he does it earlier in the tune in some of the old live versions. If you ever, you know, find some of the old live ones, he goes a lot earlier in the tune. But the real one is, the record release one is only at the end. See you, John. Happy birthday, and have a good dinner. Let's see. I have an LP, P90s, and love it. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of... Ed Baker, I sold my 68 gold top with P90s 20 years ago and cry nightly. Yeah. It's the lifetime of remorse. You know, it's like... And you'll know this one, Ed Baker. It's like, remember that time you traded a dude like a brand new Fender 57 reissue from the first year of the new Corona plant to a dude with a Fender Twin for an ESP with EMGs and a Floyd Rose? Remember that, Ed Baker? Oh. Hi from Tasmania. What's up? San Juan. What's up? Ever had an arch top? Yeah. Don't make me come over there. Oh, Head Baker. We got to get together. We got to get you down here. Got to get you down here, brah. Anyway, I think I was starting. Yeah, someone asked me about an arch top. No, because that's a good question. I don't have a pure arch top. I don't have a guitar where the top is pure and it's a floating bridge and a floating a pickup and a floating pickguard, right? And the top is like one piece, right? A nice steamed or carved top. I do have an Ibanez arch top, which has got like two big humbucking pickups, like literally right in the top. It is, a floating bridge and all that stuff. But it's not really what I would call a true arch top. I mean, it's nice. I paid like $450 for it, I think, a number of years back, 10 years ago. You're running out of notes. Oh, that should be the next one, the arch top. The arch top probably is out of tune and needs to change the strings. You know, that one gets really... And I don't even know if I could reach it. It's pretty far back over there. I had to move a whole bunch of stuff back to make room for stuff to... You know, it's a long project. Right. The garage. In fact, we spent a lot of time today on the garage getting that back going again. You know. Thoughts on Dragonfire pickups? I don't know that I've ever played or tried the Dragonfire. Not that I can recall. What I want to try out is the Fishman Fluence. That one looks pretty cool, you know. If you had a Les Paul copy, what pickups would you put in it? I'd probably put some sort of a, you know, if I'm going for the straight up, I mean, you can just go out and buy burst buckers, right? They're available on the market. But if you don't put like a Gibson set of Gibsons in it, I'd put a PAF. I'd put like either the DiMarzio 36th anniversary PAF, or I'd put in like the Duncan 59. You know, one of those sort of like low to moderate output, vintage sounding pickups. That's what I'd go for, because I think of the, believe it or not, I think of the Les Paul as more of a vintage instrument, like a Strat. You know, I save the higher output pickups for like the Super Strats, the Charvels, and the Jacksons and things like that. That's just my take on it. Some people like, you know, EMGs or something like really powerful coming out of a Les Paul, but I like more of the vintage sound. And I like the passive, so you can mix them up. You can do coil splits and phase and all that crap, you know. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin says he lives north of Boston. Dig the vids. Glad to hear it. Is the reverb today from the amp or from the actual pedal? It's not from a pedal. It's actually it's the last item in the chain on the, what I would call like the back end of this. So the front end is a Fuego X 15 watt tube amp. That's generating a little bit of heat over there, and that's running out at a pretty good clip actually into this reload box, and that's converting all that tubey goodness to get it into the rack here, my Focusrite. And the Focusrite input goes into the computer, and the computer adds the cab, and I could turn the reverb or the delay on and off, but it's the cab and then I think the delay and then the reverb. And that's it. And then it goes out. All right, Robbie. Thanks, John. Hello, Lee, up in Dublin. Daytime Savings Bureau clock. Boy, everyone, good thing I'm not hanging out with you guys. You'd be having me come home drunk every night. We'll give it a few more minutes, and then I have to look and see. You know, I might be going to get a coffee. Sorry. Just because I got to see what's left in there for beer. Like I said, my buddy Jim was over the other day, and every time I turned around, he had a different beer in his hand. I was like, dude. He's like, what? It's after 1. How did you get into rock and roll as a kid? It's you know, it just sort of happens. You hear other kids' records. See, I had an older sister, but she wasn't really all that into it. You know, it was really through people at school. The change happened probably, you know, really in like 6th, 7th grade. Really 7th grade, huge. You know. The time I went on a bender, yeah. Yeah, I haven't done a bender in a bit. Gooey gooby 2-beat tone. Right? Something like that. Let me see. Favorite band? I don't know that I have a favorite. Do we have to choose a favorite? Can't we just say they're all mediocre? You know, that's one thing that happens when you get older. You know, gods become men. And I tell you, you know what was on the last night was the old Batman. And it looked a little schlocky. The 89 one. I was like, oh man, this is looking like a YouTube video. Like, there's a few shots where I was like, wow, that's pretty bad actually. A little shaky, you know, it's London. A fellow from London called. Ever broke a headstock? No, I broke a whole neck off an acoustic guitar, though. My first acoustic. Broke the whole thing right off. And I got the second acoustic, like, right over there. Still around. Oh, see, now I play it and someone says play the Batman theme. So that's just like an open, like A and the D string up to the 5. And you just do the Hendrix chord way up here. There it is. Yeah, your favorite band depends on your mood for the day. Exactly. Pixie, why did I introduce us to baby metal? Because I'm trying to ruin lives one at a time. Yeah, baby metal. Talk about a flash in the pan, huh? And I'll tell you this much. When I went to go see them, I think we both agreed that they weren't that great live. The band was tight, but the singer was pretty bad. She was definitely way off. And whatever. They're more of a show band. Band was tight, though. Really tight. Oh, yeah? I got some Daw Man picks? Nice. I'm a fan. Now play Thief from Get Smart. I don't know if I know Get Smart. I'm trying to remember it. See, I got the Odd Couple stuck in my head. Anyway. Seriously, Pixie, ever thought of teaching? I'd sign up. You know, I have thought about it a little bit. So stay tuned. Maybe. It would be extremely limited. Just because my time is so limited. But I'm sure my wife would love me to take on a student or two. That's an inordinate amount of new emails. Yeah, there it is. like that. What does that hard case smell like? Glue. Lots of glue. Worst guitar ever played? It's hard to say. I've played some real clunkers, though, over the years. It's, it depends on how you're feeling and, right? One of the worst guitars I think I ever played, one of the biggest disappointments was a 57 Strat. It was checked all over, and the neck was enormous. I could not believe how large the neck was. And I was all into, like, the new Ibanez guitars and all the slim necks. I went over to this guy's house. He had a 57 Strat. And I was like, wow. Of course, I was gushing over it when I was there. But, I think to myself, I was saying, that's a major disappointment. This is not like the slim, like an ultra nice neck. It was chunky. It was real big. But I guess it was the style at the time. Hendrix or SRV? Hendrix. And I mean, SRV is amazing in his own way, not to take anything away from him, but Hendrix is just, game changer. Friggin' game changer. Do I know John Scofield? I don't know him, but I have seen him play live a few times, and I own a few of his albums. Still Warm and Loud Jazz and Blue Matter come to mind. Planning on any pickups for the Les Paul? No, I'm probably going to leave it stock. If it was a simpler interior, I would think about changing it, but it's pretty complicated in there. They got a PCB board to do all this work. It's kind of crazy. What's up, Austin? What's your favorite Prince song? Good question. I mean, the easiest answer would be Purple Rain because it's such a gorgeous ballad, right? So wonderfully done. Oh, but I really like Kiss. I mean, I know it's derivative of James Brown, and probably Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, but still, it's a great little turnaround. I love simple songs that really work, right? There's just something elegant, right? Like, I don't know, it's sort of like the elegance and the simplicity. How's that for a long-winded answer? Is it true Hendrix didn't know how to read music? I seriously doubt that because he worked in sort of like the groups. He may not have been able to like sight read, but he certainly knew what was up. I doubt he was all by ear because he was playing with some of those larger big bands that just demanded that level of understanding. Like you couldn't just go out there and wing it. Those bands would be like, you're out. You had to be like a professional, like a real musician who like knew how to play all these different styles. You could have a chart put in front of you and you could just go through it, or someone could just, give you the changes and you would be very quickly, to pick up on it. You would already be sort of familiar with it. And he took a lot of that stuff and he turned it into his own with songs like Little Wing, right? That's all that R&B stuff, or even that's how he's playing the D chord. So we're at the D chord, and he's going. That's all he plays, is this weird inversion to A, B minor, G. Again, there's his D. That's a Hendrix D chord. And I think he got all that. I mean, look how complicated that is. That's not the you don't happen upon that, right? That's not by chance, right? You know what's by chance? Right? That's by chance. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Now, he could have had incredible ears, right? Because that, if you can hear on a level that other people can't hear, it looks like you know all that stuff, but really it's just your level of both knowledge of the instrument and just a level of hearing that's just beyond, average. And so he might have been gifted with that. We don't really know because he died so friggin' young. 27. Which I know, if you're young, sounds old. Trust me, it is not. That's really, really young. I just think of all that's happened in my life since I was 27, and that's pretty young. It really is. Comes from Curtis Mayfield. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's like he didn't just come out of nowhere. He was around a little bit, like Jimmy Page was. Was sort of around a little bit, trying to make his way out there. Yeah. See, so Brian's saying how much he really likes the larger, fatter necks. I go in and out on it. Like, I like the 50s neck more than the 60s neck on that Les Paul, but I like this asymmetrical 60s slim taper better than both. So it really, I don't know, a case-by-case basis. Why don't you use Revalver 4? Well, because I think if I'm being honest, I think I get a little bit quieter sound. There's something about the tube amp going through the reload box and into this where the noise floor just seems to be lower. I don't know how that works, but I just think that when I go back to the and it's not just Revalver, it's TH2, it's Guitar Rig 5, it's any of them. I really notice how noisy they are. I'm like, wow, I guess I didn't realize just how noisy that is compared to this. I have no gate running, and that's single coil. That's pretty quiet. Cameron taking off. I think, understand, Cameron, man. Have a good night, brother. I want to buy a 57 Black Beauty reissue, but it's $7,000. It would come with, it would ship with a divorce. You might be in luck. Well, although I see you're saying it's AU. I don't know if you're down in Australia, because if you are, then yeah, I probably would be. But I just saw a 57 Black Beauty reissue on Guitarist to use for $3,100 US dollars. So less than half. Check, check. There we go. Wait a second. There was a sudden click. Someone taking off? Well, someone was asking about what's Bobby's latest guitar. I think the last ones he got were the Jack Butlers. And those were expensive. I don't know that. I think he emailed me or texted me and said, yeah, I'm done. For 2016 anyway. You like lower action? It depends. Yes and no. It can be a double-edged sword. You don't want your action so high that when you push the string down, you're literally pushing it out of tune. Like the distance it has to travel is large enough to literally send it out of tune. That's a problem. But I find when it's too low, I can't bend. Have a good night, Carl, and thanks for staying up, man. I really appreciate it. I know it's like, what, 1 a.m. in the UK? So I appreciate you staying up. Could you run through the spec of the Les Paul again, please? Yeah, absolutely. So, like most Les Pauls, it's a mahogany body, mahogany neck, and a maple cap. It's got 2 burst buckers, and it's got the locking Grover tuners. Right there. I don't know if, yeah, right there. And then so it's got 4 push-pull pots. So the volume push-pulls, these here, these are just coil cut. I'm not crazy about the coil cut. Thanks, Eric. Have a good night, man. Although that sounds pretty good. But they purposely make their coil cut a little thicker because, God forbid, they sound like a Strat. So they're like, we don't give you that thin sound. Our coil cut is purposely voiced like thicker. When you get to this back knob, this one here, if you pull that out, when you're in this position, you need both pickups on. Then you're out of phase. Oh, we got the verdict from Tone King. What is it? Indian food. Nice. So there it is in the coil cut. But if I pull this one out, then it's just, this one here is just bridge pickup straight out. There it is through the tone circuit. And there it is bypassing all circuits. It's a tiny bit brighter. And I forget that I'm going to turn the volume knob. And the volume knob ceased to work when that's up. Now the volume knob works again. It sounds pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, wrong pickup. Do you know Le Freak? So there's a couple of So like if you're going to do a minor chord, right, you could just do like that. Right? And then your accent notes would be, so it'd be almost like Duran Duran. But I think more correct is up here. This D minor. So, La Freak is right? No, I don't think I know it. See you, Chaz, man. Thanks for staying up, buddy. What extra naan? Yeah, my kids, they love naan bread. My God. Got 5 naans covered. Nice. Ever play the Sambora ESP? No, I haven't played the Sambora ESP, but I did play the Sambora Kramer back in the day with the big star, you know, and all that stuff. I thought it was way over the top. I could never own one. It was just too much, you know. You know any funk? Yeah, you know, I went through a little. We would have to, you know. Yeah. If we can do this. Is it? So you could do like, it's all these like tritones against, that's where the funk note comes from, or it's like the 6 and the 7. So you could do either way. You could also do it. You know, you do like little, a lot of muting. You know what? I got to get rid of this delay. There's going to be no funk. No funk as long as, step 1 with funk, get rid of the delay. You know, and then a lot of muting. Something like that. Right. It's all these little like it's like you pick a chord, usually a minor chord, and then you just put these little embellishments on it. That's all the most funk is, you know. And then it's a lot of like single note. But it's all syncopated. And it's muted. God, I wish I had a Fender right now. See, it's all in the upstroke, right? So it's all these like weird, it's all about hitting it on the offbeat, on the upstroke. It's all these syncopated things where you're turning around with the drummer, and it's what puts the only one playing like straight ahead is the bass player and the drummer. They're like trying to really nail it, and then everyone else is sort of dancing around it, you know. wondering, I wanted to buy a Les Paul Studio for $559. That sounds pretty low. A Les Paul Studio. Is it worth it? That sounds like I don't know, because I don't follow that market as much as I follow the Fender market, or even the Kramer market, or Ibanez market. So the Gibson market I'm not nearly as familiar with, but that does sound a little low. What do they new, about $899? That's about in the range. Would you, Tone King and Baker, do a live stream soon? Maybe Christmas break? Yeah, I'd be up for it. I'm sure they would too. It would just be a matter of coordinating schedules, but sure, why not? 8:21 could be beer time. The Pink Taco. It's a good amp. It's a good amp. Yo, 2K2 Studios. What's up, buddy? A lot of people saying Rosewood Telly. Seen a lot of love for the Rosewood Telly. Yeah, I could go Rosewood Telly. We've been doing this for about a little over an hour. I'm ready to mix it up. All right, hold on. Little midstream break. Ugh. My foot is totally... There we go. Totally getting caught on this. A little better. No. All right, maybe we'll take this off. Oh, that's right. You're still here. All right, here we go. Little movement here, little movement there. I found a beer. He drank, it's like a couple of Angry Orchard and apple cider, hard ciders. I'm like, oh, dude. But he left me a couple of summer ales. And I do a Viper demo? Not right now, because I got the... First of all, I don't even have it plugged in. But I should do that on a live show. Problem is, I gotta get everyone out of here so I can mic it up. You know, it's like, oh, jeez. Close, but a little out. Let's get this on here. That's pretty good. What the hell am I hearing? I'm hearing a rattle. It says it's in tune. That in tune? The quarter-inch thing really helps. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's too much to set it up. Not only that, but I got people upstairs. I start turning an amp up. People are going to... You're going to hear the end of it. Oh. Oh, look at all the Viper shamers on here. Nice try. Oh, Tone King. You son of a bitch. Don't make me come over there. Viper demo outside. It's been done. Yeah, Robert, you're another one. Got a couple of shit stirrers on here tonight. Snowed here in Alaska. Mid-October, 4 inches. Nice. I like the snow. Not all year, but some of the year. Oh, yeah, Anton, are you going to the event tomorrow? I'm telling you, it sounds... Yeah, I think it was a triple pickup now that you mentioned it, Bissy, that Kramer. And I probably was hitting that middle pickup. Plus, I wasn't crazy about the look of it. It was like covered in big stars and stuff like that. It was so 80s, so over the top. It wasn't the type of guitar I felt like would last through the years. You know, it's like the more outrageous you make it, the harder it is to last through fashion changes. that. Hold on. Trying to catch up with the comments here. The Gibson is excellent, but the Tele is absolutely killer. Yeah, I'm a Fender guy. I just think, you know, at the end of the day, I like the brighter, crisper sound of the Fender. But don't get me wrong, I like the Charvels too, you know. So I mean, I think, you know, I definitely like a humbucker sound. And the Ibanez's are mostly double coil, so you know. But at the end of the day, something about Fender. Your kids ever mess with your guitars? No. They pretty much stay away. They know better. Just got a text from a friend of mine going, Wonder Woman's on. Sweet. That was Linda Carter. I'm not seeing a lot of questions here. We all questioned out. Nice, Cameron. Garnet says, I really want an Ibanez bass. Those necks are crazy thin. Yeah, I have one of the Korean ones just for that very reason. You know? The thinness of the neck. So good. I'm getting a whole bunch of texts here. You know, someone said the Viper to the reload box. I would do that. The video would be done if it would do that. There's no speaker out. And if you run through the USB out, or if you run through the audio out, it uses its own speaker emulator, and it's not as good. Their speaker emulator is definitely not as good as the speaker emulator built into TH2. So, and the speaker that's in it, you know, they bought a company called Stevens a few years ago, which makes special speakers, like stereo speakers. And they had a whole bunch of patents that they wanted to buy up. And what they did was they used the Stevens speaker in this amp, a specially tuned speaker just for the modeling. So it's like you feel like if you don't mic it, it's like you're missing out on like 50% of what they did when they designed the amp, which was to like match the speaker with the amp, with the modeling amp. So that's why it's been taking so long. It's just that, you know, I got to get a mic on it and get it done. And, you know, if I could have run it through the reload box, I would, because I feel like that would give it a good sound. It would be a good test for it. But there's no way to do it. The speaker's hardwired. It's like you can't even just pull out a jack and plug in your own speaker. So that pretty much ended that. Corey wrote, P bass or jazz bass? I like the jazz bass better. The P bass is legend, but I think the jazz bass is a little more versatile, if you ask me. Pixie, have you owned a Hot Rod Deluxe, and if so, what was like playing at home? I did not own one, but a buddy of mine who I used to jam with, this drummer I used to jam with, his brother owned one, and they would keep it out in the jamming space. And so I played through it a couple of times, and it was a killer amp. Loud. Really loud. I think I had at the time maybe, not a Viper, but I forget what it was, but it was a PV, and it was so much louder than it. Despite the other one having like louder wattage rating, it wasn't even close. And it sounded great. What's your number one guitar? Probably, if I'm being honest, this year, this one has risen to number one. I play this one more than I think any other guitar this year. It's been this one. Yeah, Liam, maybe it was a PV Bandit now that you mention it. It was a PV Bandit 60. Does that make sense? Did they ever make a PV Bandit 60? That's sort of ringing a bell. I suppose it could have been a 50. Dream guitar? I don't know that I have a dream guitar. Maybe a 64 or 65 Strat. But probably I really wouldn't mind getting my old 73 Strat again, the hardtail. That's just for sentimental reasons, though. There's really no guitar that, I'm like, oh, if I only own that guitar, right? When they get into more money, it's really more like exotic woods and stuff like that. I think you can get a pretty decent guitar for not a ton of money, $800 to $1,500. And I think once you get past around $2,000, you're really paying for, a lot of like exotic woods and special finishing processes and all things like that. The 80s Bandits was 65 watts. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, custom 24. I actually like, what's that one they have there? Is it the 518, 513? Saying Strat Plus with lace sensors. Yeah, the lace sensors, it depends on the year. I thought the old ones were a little overly bright, and then they got much better. I think the best lace sensors started around really like the more like in the 90s. Like some of those 80s lace sensors, they were bright. They were really bright. Teach us 513. Yeah, thank you. 513. Teach us one of your licks. What's a signature? I do that one a lot. I do a lot of raking. Like there's one I do a lot. It's like I bend, like on the G string. I pull off there. I rake back to that D. Usually pull off. Right? Again, the rakes. A lot of muting, you know. You know. Online war with Bonamassa over what? I don't know what you're talking about. Is there an online war going on with Joe Bonamassa? Not that I know about. He seems to be a pretty straight-ahead guy. Oh, is it with, yeah, didn't he just reappear with, Glenn Hughes? There was some interesting body language pictures from that appearance. Like, was it Glenn Hughes and Joe Bonamassa recently went on the Eddie Trunk radio, Sirius XM radio show? And it was, it looked uncomfortable. I like a bone nut. Someone said bone or metal nut. I like a bone nut, but I don't know. You're only hearing it on the open strings, and a lot of reasons why people would get like a brass nut. It is maybe probably a touch brighter, but it just lasted, right? They would not wear out very quickly. You could run a whole bunch of strings so it would last a very long time. But I just think for ease of working and ease of getting it set up, I like the bone. I think it sounds just as good. And maybe even a touch better, you know. Rosewood, ebony, or maple? I couldn't really choose between the three. I do like maple and ebony fretboards, I find. But it really just depends. They're all pretty good. Right? I mean, they're all pretty good. Ever seen an Experience concert? No. Guy I knew from the music store, he had gone to a Jimi Hendrix show at Boston, I think this 1970 show. And I actually wound up getting the bootleg from it. It's pretty good. AC just crapped out. Oh no. Really? We're pretty cold here. We don't have to worry about air conditioning here all too often. I knew you'd go there, Crowbar, you bastard. What's a bootleg? A bootleg is when someone would tape record the show from the audience. And this is an off-the-board bootleg because Hendrix was actually, the record company was recording for a live album. So every show, you can actually get a live recording. And from 1970, someone had posted it up on Usenet probably 15 years ago. Every single night of that show, that whole summer of 1970. And I'm pretty sure the Boston show was about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before he died. So I think he died in September. I'm pretty sure the show was from August. Or maybe July, but I think it's August. And there's a ton of show. I mean, just like literally every couple of days there's another show. And someone, they would record them, and someone got a hold of those tapes. We would call them bootlegs because they're not officially released. And they showed up online. And I only pulled down the Boston like a dummy. Should have pulled them all down. But I only got that, yeah. Good night, Chris. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Really appreciate it. Was I at the show? No, I'm too young. In 1970, I would have been 4 years old, so. And my parents weren't exactly the Hendrix type, to say the least. Hello. Do you like any new music? Yeah, who was I just listening to the other day that I thought was Royal Blood? I think I mentioned everyone. That's my stock answer because of their appearance on the Stern Show. You know, they went in there and did that song, whatever, Figure It Out, and man, they sounded amazing, unbelievable. So total respect. But I'd say here it is. Any advice on buying a guitar for around $700? I currently have an Epiphone Les Paul. If you're willing to go used, you could definitely get an American Strat for $700. I see them all day long for around that, $550, not $550, $600, $650, $700 if you wanted to go that route. If you're not into that, I think the Charvel line is real good if you want something more with a humbucker in it. What else is out there? And if you already have a Les Paul, I mean, you looking to go like a single coil? The PRSs, yeah, that's a good suggestion. The PRS SEs are really good around $700. I had a PRS SE here a few weeks ago while working on Buddies. I was impressed with it. I thought it was a solid guitar. The Les Paul go out of tune more than Fenders? I don't think so. As long as the guitar is set up correctly, they generally stay in pretty good tune. No guitar is going to stay in absolute tune. Probably the best one for tuning is by far Floyd Rose, like in terms of staying in tune. But other than that, you can get them pretty good. They're never perfect, though. You find your tastes change over years. I found myself loving Strats and Tellys, and before I used to hate them. Yeah, I that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. Your tastes change. You're way into something, and then all of a sudden you're not so into it anymore, and you wind up switching it up. Pretty standard, pretty natural, right? Give a shout out to my dad, Mr. Penny. Sure. What's up, Mr. Penny? PRS is Steve's next guitar? Yeah, maybe. Doesn't it kind of have to be? Like, I now have to set up an opening shot for that. Doesn't my next guitar kind of have to be a PRS? Doesn't it kind of have to be? Oh, yeah? So Tone King saying he just got the Court Matt Bellamy, and the guitar is hot, 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 nice. You know what also has caught my eye is the Kiesel, but not so much the Kiesel, but I love the Carvin, like the DC 127s. It's a classic, been around forever. I don't know, something about the look of them. It's like a Super Strat. They come in so many different ones, but I like the rounded one, the one that's much rounder, Yeah, Chapman guitars. Jeez. How did I forget about them? And someone just wrote, how about a Carvin? That's so funny. Yeah, see, the problem with... nobody knows about Hamer. We know about Hamer. But Hamer was awesome in the 80s. And then that brand got sold around a bunch. And it was never quite as good as they were. Have you ever used an iRig? No. I use I don't have it. I used to have it right here. I use the positive grid version of iRig for my iPad. But my iPad is old. I went to Android, so I'm sort of out of the iOS ecosystem. What's your favorite pickup company? I don't know that I have a favorite. I do like stuff from Duncan and DiMarzio and EMG. I think all three of those make really good pickups. I like the lace sensor Holy Grails that are in my my 54, my Japanese made 54 reissue. There's a bunch of good companies out there. It's just a matter of what you like. See you, TK. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Oh yeah, Robert, that's right. The Acacia. Now there's an interesting brand. I'm glad you brought that up. Acacia is just one of the. It's a USA made brand. And they seem to be putting out a real quality product. I know Robert just got one and was thrilled with it. So there's a like a sort of an up and coming new company. I mean, how old is Acacia? Less than 10 years, maybe even less than 5 years. I'm not really sure what the history of the company is, but they're a relatively new company and they're American made, and from what I can see, pretty damn good. I mean, the one Robert had and the one TK had were both nice. Did you hear Phil X on the Stern Show? I did. I'm like, I know him. I've met Phil at the NAMM show a couple of times. And someone asked me before if I had ever met Rob Chapman, and I have, like 3 times. When he was in Boston, we went out to dinner after the show. Super nice guy. That whole team was really super nice. Do you like any of the Fender offsets? Not so much. I just never got into them. I don't know what it is, but I just never got into the offset guitars. What are the best P90 pickups? That's a good question. I haven't delved into it enough to really know. I got to think, the Gibson P90, the original one, is probably, up there. But also, Duncan makes one that I think has got some good, chatter out there. Are you a Howard fan? Yeah, I've been a Howard fan for many years. Many years. Yeah, Rabia is a beast of a player. I agree. Should I buy a Les Paul Jr.? That's up to you. What do you think about the Ibanez Universe Anniversary Limited for $6,000? It sounds a little pricey. I think they've been getting a word from Gibson's marketing sheet. It's like, they're like, well, let's charge 4, 6. Let's go 6. It's crazy. Some people are saying Lawler for the P90s. Yeah, Phil X seems to be all into the P90s. What's crazy is I've seen Rabia like really improve. Like if you look at him, 4 or 5 years ago on there, his playing is good, but not like it is now. Like his playing is so much better in the last like 4 or 5 years. He's really, really like come a huge way in his playing. Who's here old enough to remember the Jerky Boys? Oh, God. There was a guy actually even 10 years before the Jerky Boys. I can't think of it, but he used to do like play a piano and do like dirty limericks. Yeah, and then I think the Jerky Boys pretty much imploded once they made the movie, right? Then I think that was pretty much the end of them. I'm sure they probably fought over the money. And that was the end of that. Yeah, was it John Varney? You know, it could have been. It was like just a guy at a piano, and he used to just sing crazy to get the audience all going, right? He used to scream, F you, you know, and they'd yell it back. Whoever that guy was. 80s, probably 84, 85. He really came out. I think the Gibson Senior was the straight up Les Paul, right? Jerky Boys got sued for prank calls. I wouldn't doubt it. And then they came back with Crank Yankers, which was the puppeteering, and yeah, right, John Valby. See, people will know it. It's so funny. You're like, right, Dr. Dirty. Yeah, that was him. That was him. He was in a movie with Tom Cruise. Interesting. All right, guys, it's 8:58. I think I have to release my family from the attic. So I think we got a call tonight. Does anyone own a 4-track cassette recorder? No, but I owned one, the Porta Studio, the Porta 1. Give us some 70s AC/DC. Probably should have nailed that. See? This is what happens. People ask me to do stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, man. All right, guys. I see Detroit. Come on, tell us the most famous guitar you met? Or guitar player I've met. That's different. Happy birthday. Thanks. Yeah, by the time I see you guys next time, Thanksgiving will be over. So everyone have a great Thanksgiving if you're from the States. Canada, did you already have your Thanksgiving? I think you did. All right, guys. We got Vienna, Scotland, Italy, Croatia, Philly, Denver, Bristol, Virginia, Alaska, Nebraska, Glasgow, Montreal. Nice. Seoul. Wow. It's top of the morning. That's crazy. Little Northern Cali, Denver. A little more Cali, Mexico, Ontario, St. Mary's, UK. Thanks, Reese, man. Little Oregon, Texas, little New York, Germany, Florida, New York, Vegas, Ann Arbor, Nebraska, Vancouver, Salt Lake, Newfoundland, Nevada, little Yorkshire, UK. Nice. Is that where the pudding's from? Yorkshire. Little Anna. I think I saw some Ohio in there from my buddy. With my baker buddy. Little Miami, Cleveland, New Zealand, Oregon. All right, I think we're officially out. All right, dudes, as always, thanks so much for stopping by. And rock on.